Who are we really? Where is that something we call the self hidden? Is it just an illusion of the brain, or does a secret center truly exist? One that makes us who we are? For millennia, philosophers, scientists, and mystics have tried to answer one of the oldest and most fascinating questions in human history. Where does consciousness come from? And yet, even today, no one has a definitive answer. Science has made enormous progress. We know the structure of the brain, we understand synapses, and we can even see which areas light up when we feel emotions or make decisions. But we still don't know why, from a cluster of cells and electrical impulses, emerges the subjective experience of the world, the feeling of being someone. As Thomas Nagel once wrote, we don't know what's like to be a bat, but we do know what's like to be ourselves. And that's precisely where the mystery begins. We know the brain is the center of our intelligence and memory. It receives stimuli, processes information, and sends commands. It's like an incredibly sophisticated biological processor, capable of learning, inventing, reflecting, and cooperating with others. And indeed, everything seems to live there. If the heart pumps blood and the lungs oxygenate, then the brain must be where the magic happens, right? Our prefrontal cortex, far more developed than that of any other animal, is what allows us to plan, imagine, create, and build. With its roughly 86 billion neurons, each with thousands of connections, the human brain is the most complex system in the known universe. And yet, as much as we can see it working, we still can't find the self anywhere. There's no point in the brain where consciousness switches on. No soul switch, no map that says, there, that's you. As neuroscientist David Chalmers observed, the problem of consciousness is that we do not know how or why physical processes in the brain give rise to subjective experience. As children, we soon learn to recognize ourselves in the mirror. Around the age of 2, a child realizes that the reflection is not another, but themselves. It's one of the first signs of self-awareness. But when does our sense of self truly begin? Is it a product of biology or something that gradually emerges from our interaction with the world? Over time, memory accumulates experiences, emotions, success, and failures. As the years go by, we gather new experiences, learn new things, engage with others, and are shaped by everything we live through. And so we begin to build a story about who we are. Every memory, every choice, every relationship contributes to that inner voice that accompanies us. The voice that reflects, judges, dreams. We are the result of our past, but also of the imagination of what we might yet become. Memory is our anchor. It allows us to know that we have had a past, that we live in a present, and that we move toward a future. Without it, we couldn't build a personal story. There would be no before or after, no sense of continuity between the child we were and the adult we have become. Think of someone who loses their memory. What remains is a body, but the identity seems to fade away, as if the self dissolves along with the memories. So memory is our core. It's where our impressions of the world gather and where we define ourselves. But recent studies reveal something surprising. Memory isn't only in the brain. The entire body participates in storing information. The cells of the heart, the gut, and even the immune system remember chemical and emotional experiences. And that's not all. The brain itself, to lighten its load, extends memory into the external world. We write, record, photograph, archive. Every book, every file, every object in our room is an extension of our cognitive self. After all, we can't infinitely expand our internal memory. We have limits, so we extend it artificially. The knowledge accumulated and passed down allows us not to rediscover everything from scratch. Our self expands into the entire world and into everything we experience. We project awareness into the world, and in turn, the world shapes us. Philosopher Andy Clark calls the idea the extended mind. The mind is not confined to the skull. It's a distributed system that includes tools, technologies, and even other people. In this sense, our consciousness is not contained in the head. It's a flow that extends into the world, a network connecting thoughts, memories, and meanings. But if our self is so widespread, can we really say there's a center at all? Philosopher Daniel Dennett proposed a radical view. The self is a story the brain tells itself. According to this view, there is no stable entity within us, only a continuous flow of information that the brain organizes into a coherent narrative, like a novel being rewritten billions of times per second. Every day we tell ourselves who we are, what we want, what we feel. But what would happen if we stopped telling that story? If the voice inside our head went silent for just a moment? It would be like seeing the world without filters. And perhaps, for an instant, there would be no one left to observe, only the pure experience of being. Maybe we have been looking in the wrong direction all along. What if consciousness isn't in us, but between us and the world? Every time we look at a landscape, listen to a song, or touch someone's hand, something unique happens. The experience doesn't belong solely to us, it belongs to the interaction itself. Quantum physics, despite its many controversial interpretations, has taught us something fascinating. The observer influences what is observed. There is no reality independent of the consciousness that perceives it. As physicist Erwin Schrödinger wrote, consciousness is not a product of matter. It's the condition necessary for matter to appear. Perhaps consciousness isn't something we have, but something that happens, a phenomenon that emerges when mind and the world meet. A shared field, a mutual reflection between in and outer. If that's true, then our self doesn't end at the boundary of our skin. We are not merely a body or a brain. We are part of a larger organism, a network of consciousnesses that influence, shape, and expand one another. Every book, every idea, every act of kindness is a fragment of our consciousness that continues to spread through the world. In this light, even what we call inanimate becomes part of the whole. A stone, a tree, a computer, each is a node in the infinite web of being. As Carl Jung wrote, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakens. And perhaps when we stop seeing ourselves as separate entities, we realize that the boundary between inside and outside never truly existed. Perhaps we will never discover where consciousness originates, but maybe the answer isn't a place, It's a relationship. Our self is not imprisoned in the brain, not confined to the body. It's a flow that runs through life itself, manifesting in every thought, every encounter, every experience we live. If we could see the world with this awareness, that everything around us is a manifestation of our own being, perhaps we would learn to look at it with more respect, more empathy, more wonder. Because in the end, there is nothing out there that's truly separate from us. If this perspective challenged you or opened a new way of thinking about consciousness, share in the comments what you believe the self truly is: a product of the brain, an illusion, or something that connects us to everything that exists. And if you would like to keep exploring the mysteries of the mind, time, and reality, subscribe to the channel, because every question that shakes us brings us a little closer to understanding who we truly are.